All right, so good evening, everybody. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of Darien. It is February 21st, 2024. No postponements, no continuations. We have two applications tonight, so I hope we move quickly. First application is calendar number 24-2023. Property known as 30 Lake Drive to allow the construction of a second and attic story addition, the construction of a covered front porch, and the modification reconstruction of a one-story segment of the house. This application is made by Brad Yonkers of JHT Architecture on behalf of Lake Drive Properties LLC. Okay, Mr. Yonkers?
Yes, sir.
How are you tonight?
Very good, thank you.
Terrific.
Hope everybody else is as well. As you said, my name is Brad Yonkers of JHT Architecture, and we're doing a little project. It used to be just putting a second floor on the existing building, and what the owners wanted to do is renovate the first floor kind of extensively because the small rooms that are in the area don't lend themselves towards a nice house. In doing so, we were required to raise the house so that the first floor was out of the flood zone. And that's going to take about 12 inches, if I can remember correctly. So we're going to just raise the whole floor up, 2 courses of block, run it around, and then put a second floor on top of it. So the only problem that we have, coverage is all right on the money. We're good with that. There's 2 or 3 areas that we're having question. The left side corner right now.
Time out. Mr. Maslin, I apologize, but I can hear you, and it's distracting me, if you wouldn't mind. I know it's been several months, sir, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mr. Yonkers, please continue.
Do you need an easel?
So I know I don't have any high-tech aids here, but we'll go old school.
That's okay.
The corner of the existing first floor is outside of the building setbacks by 6 inches. And there's about a little over 2 feet, so there's 0.8 square feet we're into the setback zone. And that's the existing first floor, the existing foundation. And all we wanted to do is to just go up, straight up. There is no increase in the footprint of the building at the end of the day. Thank you, Woody. And that's that little corner right here that you can see, that little piece right there. So that's what we're here for. And since we have to come here for that, what we wanted to do was to put a small stoop on the front of the house. There is not one now. Well, there is just a footing stoop, but no roof. And we wanted to make a little stoop in front of the right in center of the house. So that whole stoop is within the building setback.
Okay.
So without a variance, this is the existing elevation right now is the front of the house. So there's just a little concrete stoop here. There's no overhang. So we're just proposing a very small one, which is maximum 5 feet by 8 feet from the trim edge. So we're not going to go beyond that, mainly because you probably wouldn't grant it. So we're trying to keep in with the restrictions of what everybody's doing here. If we were to keep a small 3x4 stoop that would automatically get approved, I believe, it would just be so small for the house. Even this is a little bit smaller. We had to make it a little bit smaller and do a little creative design with the roof so that we minimize that 8-foot setback, 8-foot length. So that's the second part of our problem. And then the third part is along on the other side of the building, the setbacks go about 3 feet into one corner. You can see how it's shaded in red, and that's in the violation. So what we did was we pulled back the second floor so that we don't have to go into that at all. So the problem is with raising up the building, we need to get the garage also. That's the existing garage is right there. We're not touching that. the existing walls have to get raised up something like 7 or 8 inches to get out of the flood zone. So that's going to be the, the third area that we have to just try to maintain the existing roof. We're going to put a new metal roof, finished roof on top of it, but try to retain the integrity of that so that we're not doing anything within the setback lines.
Yeah, and all of that is motivated by the desire to get out of the flood zone.
It was
You're
a
not getting-
requirement.
Right, you're not getting any more
There's
utilization out
nothing,
of the garage.
no.
And then,
We-
I do,
actually-
and stepping back is, the second floor is a good decision.
Yeah.
Because you're not adding more volume. in the
Right,
second.
there's no extra footprint.
Right.
The owners didn't even want to raise it up out of the ground, but there's a requirement
Right.
that we have to do that with.
So really, the only place that you're increasing within the setback is that corner. And you're adding the front
Is
stoop
this
within,
0.8 square feet.
yep,
We wanted to add a stoop for safety reasons.
but 5 by 8, so that's, okay.
And this area here that's in red.
Yep, you're not building over
That's the
that.
existing garage right now.
Right.
But you've set it, cut it in, and you're going up within the space,
Second
okay.
floor. As you can see here, is where we've come back that 3 feet so that it's out. This is the building setback line, comes right through here.
Right.
So we're bringing it back in so we don't even get close to that.
That's great.
And everything else matches, the environment, the rest of the housing. It's not bigger than anything else. It's not smaller than anything else. Got a very consistent feel for the neighborhood. And we're not bringing it up too high out of the ground, just enough just to get it out of the flood zone, and that's it.
You talked to any neighbors about this?
We have some of them here.
Oh, okay, we'll hear from
So
them.
as far, the owners have, I believe,
others.
talked to a bunch of the neighbors, and the ones that they can get to, nobody's had any issues with it. Right to the left of the house, somebody did exactly the same thing a few years ago, 2 years ago. So it actually is a little bit bigger than what we're proposing,
Okay.
I think. But,
Mm-hmm, okay, yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else I can say, but
Not-
it's just gonna improve the whole area.
Not right now.
Jeff, do you have enough on the record for the hardship?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure we really kind of covered that. We do need to establish a hardship. To provide a variance, we have to establish a hardship. Now, I know some of the issues, but why don't you
Okay.
put them on the record so we can have
So
that
the-
reflected in
The
the.
hardship is because there's only 0.8 square feet of building over the setback line. The hardship is, the entire house would have to be moved, which is a kind of a huge undertaking just for 0.8 square feet. Where
And
the
all because
existing.
you have to meet this requirement for FEMA to raise the house.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes, because there's, I believe it's over 50% construction costs that has to get raised.
I understand.
So, and again, we didn't really want to do that, but, so we are, doing what they want us to do.
Are there any other issues that go with the land that may apply to further hardship?
No, the land is flat.
Mhm.
I think the only hardship is that to move the entire house over would be a monumental effort just for a small little spot. And on that side also, there's an easement to the property and back. That's a municipality.
It's an
So
Aquarian water access, isn't it? No, it's not an Aquarian water access?
Yes.
Yes, it
Yes.
is an Aquarian
Yes.
water access, okay.
So that's that one little spot that we're staying away from the building setback line with.
And the FEMA regs came into being after the house was constructed.
Yes.
So some change of regs. And
Mhm.
What is the year of construction of the house?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
50s.
1950s. okay.
50s.
53.
Okay. Where'd you see that? Look at you,
It's on the Accessor's website.
little brown nose.
The other
That's
thing
my man.
The other thing that we're being required to do is to raise the crawl space and fill it in to match, all the flood issues.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, okay, okay. All right. Jenny, do you have any questions?
No, I think it's an excellent.
Gary,
Nope,
you
thank you,
okay?
it's done.
You good?
Yep.
Just a quick question, you're keeping the existing structure?
Excuse me?
The first floor we're keeping?
Yes, they're going to have to raise it.
And that's
Right.
it. And then you said the crawl space is being enhanced, or,
It has to be filled in so that
Filled
it's
in,
level
okay.
with the current grade,
oh, I see, got it,
so that water doesn't go in there and become a bathtub.
got it.
And there's specific venting that's going around the new two courses of block to accommodate water coming in and out.
Flow through.
Yes.
Mm-hmm,
So that's all been calculated and ready to go.
Got it.
mm-hmm.
And I have two questions. One is systems. Are you adding any systems in the setback? Like, HVAC and that kind of stuff? Are there any of those things going on this drawing that we don't know about?
No,
Okay. Are you going to enclose that front porch, or is it all open?
no, the porch will be, I'm sorry, I just had a little stupid joke I didn't want to say. The porch has only got a roof over it, and it's
Okay.
got the two columns, and that's it. It's going to have, I believe it has I think we have to have handrails on both sides, and that's it. No enclosure, no screening, no further requirements of any glass or anything to enclose that.
Okay.
All right.
It's really just to get a nice, a stoop centered in the house, because right now it's over to one side.
But for safety reasons?
It's all for safety reasons to
Yes.
have a covered stoop to get into the house.
Yeah, I don't think the board has a particular problem or issue with that, but we're likely going to stipulate that all the things that you mentioned are not going to happen,
That'd be
including
fine.
closing it and making it larger and things of that nature, okay?
Great.
All right. I went to you and to you, ma'am.
I already asked my questions. I
There
am
you go.
complete.
I'm
Thank you.
done. Thank you, sir, very much. I appreciate the concise
Thank you very much for
and
listening to us.
and
Ready for
good
the numbers?
presentation. Thank you so much.
No, you're good.
I'm good.
Hear
I'm
from the
good.
neighbors?
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe
That was
that's
my nod.
Yeah, shoot. We haven't been here for a couple of months. Is there anybody else in this audience that'd like to be heard on this application? With that, I will close this hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Gary. Can I make a note of that? Thank you very much. Appreciate that little heads up. All right, Mr. Maslin. Oh, Mr. Maslin, you're number one. 2024. Okay. Application of Robert Maslin and Maslin Associates on behalf of CBC Home LLC to allow the construction of a 1 1/2 story replacement garage and loft.
Can I interrupt one?
Yes, of course.
So the people who are leaving, in case you don't know this, we will.
Folks leaving?
Folks leaving.
Hang on.
We're going to deliberate tonight.
Mr. Yonkers?
Yes, sir.
We're going to deliberate tonight and vote on this application tonight. You can stay and listen to that, or you can leave, which you're free to do, and call Woody tomorrow morning to see what our decision is. It's up to
It's
you.
going to take a long time.
Nope,
No,
he's
he's
not.
not.
He's trying to beat the clock. It's complete,
Sir.
I just wanted to let you know that that's our
Thank you,
usual
thank-
process.
Thank you. You've set the bar, sir, and the board truly appreciates it. Okay.
Poor look at Bob's face.
All right,
I was like,
let's, okay. So thank you, again, Gary.
I've been in your seat a long.
Yes, you've been much longer than me, sir. Okay, so I'm going to start again. The calendar number 1, 2024, the application of Robert Maslin and Maslin Associates on behalf of CBC Home LLC to allow the construction of a 1 1/2 story replacement garage and loft to the address being known as 3 Edge Hill Drive. Mr. Maslin.
Good evening, everyone. I wasn't here last month, so Happy New Year.
You too.
My name is Robert Maslin. I'm the attorney for the applicant and property owner, CBC Home LLC. Anna Powers is here. She brought her third child with her. Yeah, and Vinny
And
Vinny?
this one.
Yes.
and Vinny Sciaretta, who is Vast VAS Construction. I just have a couple of things to hand in. One is a hard copy of the PowerPoint presentation. I know sometimes you ask for that. And then,
We've gone digital now. We're very
oh, I know that, but
sophisticated
just in
group.
case, you want to mark it up and make notes and all that.
All right. I'll
Whatever,
take-
So I'll do-
whatever
and-
you say,
and
sir.
The emails which I uploaded today, we got them today from 3 abutting neighbors, so I wanted to pass that in as well.
Thank you.
So, see if I remember, I don't know what's wrong with that. It's working here, you can see this file.
I can
I'm gonna
essentially.
be standing in
I
front
know,
of
I'm
it.
right in your way, so, it's not intentional. Let me see if I can,
It's okay, Bob, let's keep it going.
Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
all right.
Janet, you
So-
okay?
So first, an overview. We are requesting a variance of section 406. I have 9 feet in the legal notice and in the application from the east, which is a rear lot line in lieu of 40 feet. The actual building on the plans is a little over 10, but I like to add that little extra cushion in case there's an adjustment or something that needs to be made during the construction. And if necessary, I put 906.3A, which is the regulation that does not allow required parking in the side yard. This is one of those corner lots where, at one time, this was a side yard, and I put it in there just for good measure. I don't think we need it, I think Woody agrees. Okay, the site's non-conforming, it's .8453 acres in the 1 acre zone. If you've been out there, it's the northeast corner of Searles Road and Edge Hill Drive. The driveway comes in off Edge Hill. About 2/3 of the site is in flood zone AE, and you'll see, and I'll point it out on the survey, that the frontage along Searles Road is actually in the coastal A zone, which is a zone that doesn't meet all of the requirements of the V zone, but it does have some modified wave activity. There's an existing septic system between the house and Searles Road, and there's a 20-foot utility easement along the northern boundary. I'll point all these out as we go along. The lot was created not any later than 1944. It's shown on map 1344. At that time, this was in the AA zone, which is 1/3 acre. The house was built in 1921 or 1920, and the garage was built in 1930. And when both were built, well, when the house was built, there were no zoning regs. When the garage was built, it complied. Since then, the yard requirements have increased with the change to the current R1 zone. Now it's, the side yard is 25 feet, but when you consider that eastern boundary is a rear lot line, the setback is now 40. Parking spaces inside the garage are significantly smaller than the minimum 9 by 18. And for a private residence, you'd really want a couple of parking spaces. You could park an SUV in without difficulty. There was an addition in 1994 to extend the house and put a deck in. And the deck, as you'll see in the photograph, is over a significant amount of ledge. The proposal is to demolish the existing house and increase the setback.
Pardon me.
Garage.
Boy,
It's okay. It's just-
demolish the existing garage.
It's perfectly fine. I just wanted to make sure the record was correct.
Yes, I stand corrected.
No worries.
I can't even read my own slides here.
That's okay.
Okay, we want to increase the setback from 7.4 to 10.3, but that's measured to the wall on the plan. And with a little bit of eave and all, that's why we put 9 feet in the application itself, and that's the number that goes in the legal notice. Reconfigure the driveway a little bit. We don't have a drainage system as yet because doesn't make sense to prepare one at this point. If we get the variance, the drainage system will be part of the building permit application, which is common, and on tricky situations, the staff has been having those peer reviewed, so there'll be plenty of review for that down the road. No work is being proposed in the flood hazard zone. Aerial photograph. Now, the subject site's outlined in blue. Nancy Winship lives to the east. Amanda Druggins lives to the north, and the Wests live to the south. We have letters, or emails rather, supporting the application from all three of those owners. This is the existing garage. You can see the door on the left doesn't really close all the way. I have a few more photos here. This is the west side of it, or the side facing the house. This is the rear of it. And you'll note on this slide, there is a pretty significant slope down several feet as you move toward the north. I took a picture of this to show you what this storage little rafter area looks like inside. Okay, another photograph. This shows the distance between the house and the garage, but it also shows the slope as you move toward the camera. And that slope continues pretty much all the way
You're
around
moving, on
the
that
house.
picture, go back to, you're
Oh.
moving the garage to the right.
Oops, yes. In this picture? Yes. Moving it over.
And towards, right, towards the center of that photograph. And
Yes,
the
yes.
further away from the property line, which is off to the left in that photograph.
Correct.
So about 3 feet.
About 3, yeah.
So just
7.3 to 10.3.
So just describe to us why you can't move it even further to the right than you're planning on. Thereby moving it even further away than your plans from the property line.
Well, if you get to where it's within 5 feet of the house, you treat it as the house, not just as an accessory structure. So you want to try to avoid that. We also, I mean, it's just the way it works out.
But is the topography, I'm trying to, where is that 5-foot line? Is the topography so difficult so that you can't move it further, thereby, decreasing even more so the
Well,
nonconformity?
If
Try
we go-
to,
I know what you're saying. I can jump over to the, let me magnify this a little. Oops.
Ma'am, you are more than welcome to speak. I just need you to come up and introduce yourself anytime you're ready.
Thank you. Can you tell my mom? I'm like, ah.
No worries.
Well, just visually, from the deck to the garage, you're, I would say, roughly 5 feet. I haven't scaled it, it's not
in
measured
your,
off,
and that's
but
proposed.
That's proposed.
Okay, I assume it's a little bit more than 5 feet.
Well, a little, yes. a
Right,
little
because
bit.
you're not creating the problem that you just mentioned.
Correct. From here to here is
Okay,
5.1 feet.
okay, that's,
Okay. All right, back to photographs. Okay. Now, the rest of these show the kind of the tour of the yard, but you can see how the slope works out. As we go from one to the next. This is garage over on the left there behind the house. The deck obviously is the north side, and then to the right of the picture is the westerly wall. And this is from Edge Hill, and you can see the ledge. I mean, this is a condition that exists on this site, and as it turned out, this house and garage were built in really what turns out to be the only high ground on the site. And now we have flood zones that basically run almost all the way around. This is the deck under the ledge under the deck. It's pretty significant. It goes up to a couple of feet lower than the structure of the understructure of the deck. And it's got the foundation runs along here with concrete, and it's kind of built right into or on top of the ledge. So one major issue, if we tried to take the deck out, remove that ledge, you're going to vibrate the foundation, jeopardize this 100-year-old, the integrity of the foundation, and therefore the integrity of the house itself. This is just another photograph of it. On the left, there's a door. This is at the corner of the house looking toward the garage, which is behind the lattice, a little bit to the left, on the other side of the lattice.
May I
Again,
ask,
gives you
please, if I
a
may?
sense of what the ledge condition is.
Okay, if I may, are you suggesting when you talk about vibration and the possible damage to the foundation, are you trying to present that as one of the reasons why the board may not consider asking you to move that garage closer to the house?
Not closer to the house, to put it where the deck is. The staff memo suggests taking the deck out, putting it where the...
It suggests taking a portion of the deck out, yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
and chipping away at this ledge, which, I mean, you're talking several feet of ledge here to get down to the level of the driveway, which is just not practical without... It really jeopardizes the structure of the foundation, the strength of the foundation, because it's all directly connected.
Yeah,
Whether you try to blast it or chip it away with a jackhammer or a hoe ram.
Yeah, I understand your comments and your thought process. You know, I'd be a little more comfortable hearing that from a professional who said, yeah, there's no way that I can get rid of that ledge without damaging that foundation. Because I'm not all
The
too
builder's
sure that
here.
in 2024 that we can't get that done. But I don't know.
The builder's here. We can,
Can you, well,
I can get him up now if...
yeah, why don't you? Because I'd like to know the answer to that question. I would assume he's
Hi,
qualified
I'm
to
Vincent
answer that
Sharetta,
question.
Vast Construction.
Yeah.
To answer your question about removing that ledge, to jackhammer that ledge would definitely cause some kind of issue with that foundation. There's a lot of ledge there, and it's very hard, actually. So you don't know if it is, or if it will or will not cause any problem to that, but, you know, what do you tell the homeowner? Let's take a chance, maybe your whole house, that part will cave in, or that block foundation. It's only a block foundation that's there.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, it's not a poured concrete foundation. So, you don't know. I mean, I can get my excavator to tell you exactly, but you're talking some, you know, a huge hole ram to go in there and jackhammer that ledge, and I think you're higher, you'd have to take several feet out in order to create a footing to construct the garage, number one, because it's higher than the earth that's on the other side. So you would, it just, I mean, you can look at it and you don't know if it's gonna be, I mean, dynamite is is definitely not the
Yeah, no,
the answer, but.
I wouldn't advise
But
that.
jackhammering, there's so much jackhammering, you don't know. I mean, the house is 100 years old, so you don't really know what it's gonna damage.
Fair enough.
I mean, I can't tell you that it's not or not going to,
Fair enough.
but,
I appreciate you coming up.
no problem at all.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Woody, go ahead, because I
Yeah.
have a question relative to his.
Well, Mr. Maslin, we might want to clarify that this part of the house that's closest to the ledge we just talked about is the 1994 edition.
Yes,
It's not the 100-year-old
yes,
original house.
right, but if this comes down, it's connected to the rest of the house.
I know where he's going. So,
And as I look at this appears, now I'm not the structural engineer, but this ledge is performing a function. It seems to be right up against and providing support, lateral support for the foundation. There's concrete with block on top of it.
yeah, I can see that. I don't mean to jump ahead on item K, but I'm curious to know, because I think you're talking about a ledge issue here. And I get it. But in Article 4, Paragraph 2, you make a comment that says the area north of the existing house, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's not a problem. The area north of the existing house and deck is not large enough to accommodate a new garage without adding 3 to 4 feet of fill within a flood hazard zone. Is that comment, are we talking about the same thing relative to, I mean, can we move the garage and you have two choices? You either blast or you add fill?
If you,
Because I don't see any comments in here about blasting. Could be totally wrong, but I see comments about adding fill. Now we're talking about blasting or
well,
jackhammering.
there are several things coming together
Okay.
on this. It's
Okay.
not just one specifically. If you go from here, between the deck, and you'd have to run it up this area to the setback line, this is all flood zone.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to put a garage there in a way where the floor is up at the existing driveway level, the entire area of the footprint has to be filled. And you're putting additional new volume in that flood zone area, which is not preferred if you can avoid it. The other issue here is the existing septic system is out here. It's 30 years old. If it fails and you need to relocate the leaching field, you're gonna be doing it over here. Because that's the only other place that's not ledge on the site in order to do that. You can't run, if you wanted to run a driveway out to the street, you're putting several feet of fill from the Searles Road level up to the garage floor level. So you're adding volume there. You're changing the flood pattern. There's wave activity. It's less than 1.5 feet because it's no longer in the transition zone. Coastal A comes up to here. That's wave activity up to 1.5 feet. But the waves just don't stop dead. They continue on. So you're going to get some additional wave activity into the property. It just is not 1.5 feet. So there are flood zone issues, flooding and flood patterns. What happens to the flood waters when they come in if you plant the volume of the garage in that zone? What happens to the tidal flood when it comes in? It's going to push water around and to the neighbor.
Okay. All right.
So you looked for alternatives all around the lot and came up with this as the best option. We're gonna get it 3 feet further from the neighbor.
Yes.
But we're increasing the size, the volume in the space, in the setback. How much are you increasing the volume in the setback?
I had I think Woody figured it out in his memo here.
This is a good segue because
It-
I'm next going to start talking about the size of this garage.
The current garage is 18 by 18 or 18 by 19.
I know, but you got it going to 25 by, sorry, that note's
25
not-
by 28.
You're more, I can't figure it out.
Well,
right this second.
25, if you take 9 feet, which used to be the parking requirement. 9
All right,
feet.
so 9 and 9 is
So
18,
you
you're
you
going
add
to
a little bit
25,
to
so
the
that's
9
7
feet for the big-
additional feet.
You
Right.
add a little bit to the 9 feet for the larger vehicles. Right, so then that gets you to 18 or 19. Then you have space between the cars and space between the vehicles and the left and right side walls.
Okay, I know.
So that's how you get to the 25. 28, 20 feet is a good number for a vehicle parking space for something like an SUV. Then, space to walk around between the door and the vehicle and from the front of the vehicle toward the back wall. And there's a little staircase that runs up to the loft. So that's how we get to that. And when you enlarge a footprint, you're going to end up with a little bit higher pitch on the roof.
Standard garage, 24 by 22-ish, and then we're adding.
Yeah,
So,
but
and what's this proposed size, Bob? I'm sorry, the total garage? What's the total proposed size?
25 by 28.
Because, we have to make an argument for the minimum adjustment
Adjustment
in the
necessary.
space. So if you're building some supersized garage, we gotta come up with a good argument for it.
Tell
So
me,
I-
Well, it's-
tell me about the loft.
yeah, I was just going there. But,
Okay.
and by the way, I've measured my personal garage
It's pretty-
and I drive an SUV. I got plenty of room. I can get both doors fully open and it's nowhere near that size. But I understand your little explanation of dimensions and all that stuff. But let's talk about that loft because I'm
Okay.
also concerned. I also have a question similar down to this same thing. There's a comment in here about the finished attic, which is different, but you added in here, it says a portion of the attic was finished in 2005. I'd like to know,
That's just the general history of the property.
it's not livable, correct?
Up in the house?
Well, yeah, it's in here. It's the zoning history of subject property, and you say the attic was finished. So along the lines of what Mr. Green is asking, what's going on with the loft and the garage, and what's going on with the finished portion of the attic in the main house? Those are the two questions.
Nothing's going on in the attic in the main house. This is strictly,
But it says it's finished.
it's finished.
Yeah, it's just a part of the.
You want to come up
It's
and
my- it's my
explain
playroom.
what's there, because I
Sure.
Come on
haven't been
up.
up there.
Bring baby with you.
I was gonna say, we have no choice there.
Yep,
The other
yep.
two I could leave with my husband. As per I'm Anna Powers.
Oh, yeah, yes. Please
Sorry,
introduce yourself
introduced.
and your company.
Anna Powers, I'm the homeowner.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I live there.
Okay.
So in terms of what's finished inside, our house does have a finished third floor. The reason for the request for the loft upstairs is currently our house is built on 3 crawl spaces. We don't actually have, storage that way. The previous owners, I assume, did finish the third floor, but they had just been using that garage because you can't actually fit cars in it as their storage, which is why I assume they did that. The loft is by no means intended to be finished. It's just meant to provide the storage that we'll be losing by being able to park our cars.
Okay, now that answers in reference to the loft in the garage that Mr.
Yes.
Green asked, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now tell me about the finished attic in your home.
In my home, I have a finished third floor that has a very small office and I use it as a playroom.
Okay.
But it
so-
doesn't have, and then also the additional unfinished parts, now home my HVAC and
Okay,
my AC units.
understood. And when you say your third floor, you're referring to the attic as referenced in this document, correct?
Yes, no, and we're not trying to do anything with that
Okay.
or it just,
So attic is your third floor?
attic is my third floor.
Thank you very much.
Whoever-
Appreciate it.
Yeah, whoever owned it before us was using the garage just purely
Yep.
as storage because you can't actually functionally.
And that's
use
what
the
you're going
garage.
to use the loft for in the garage?
I was just
purely
hoping to
storage.
get some storage for,
Fine.
Christmas.
Okay.
Can I actually speak to the question about why we can't move it closer to the house? So, right at what would be, by trying to move it as close as possible to the house while respecting the rule to stay 5 feet away, we would also be moving it up a little bit, which is demonstrated in one of the pictures. It would then basically, not literally touch, but it would be at the stairs entrance to my house. So you can't actually move any closer because then the stairs would be in the way of the cars getting out of the house. And there's no, because we did work through every one of these scenarios, there's no actual way to move those stairs to get out of the way so that we can move it farther out of the setback.
And why didn't you want to attach the garage to the house?
My understanding was that then we run into the issue of it increases the overall volume of our home and no longer just serves the purpose of simply giving us a garage and some storage space.
That's
Changes the setback
Yep.
rules.
Yeah, because,
Not this
and there
case,
was
no.
also no way to put in a functional garage attached to the house where it would completely take it out of the setback. We did talk about that, like what would it look
Okay.
like if you moved it all the way up against that house in the same spot, while obviously by eliminating that part of the deck and the stairs somehow, you would be less in the setback. It didn't take it out of the setback. So we would still be here having this conversation, but then I'd also be having the problem of it is now part of my house.
Let's review that. Because I'm hearing two different things from my
Staff.
panel. Okay, Woody, can you please explain to us why, if they move it to the house, attach it to the house essentially, this does not increase, what are you saying? It doesn't change the setbacks? Mr. Green is saying one thing, you're saying another. So,
No, there's no relaxed accessory setback in this zoning district.
But there isn't in this zoning.
No, not in the 1 and 2 acres at all.
Okay.
So
So
the
the same
dimensions of-
rules apply, no matter if it's connected or disconnected or whatever.
Okay, so this isn't like the shed that can be 5 feet from the
Correct.
property line.
So what's the
Doesn't matter if it's-
relevance of calling an accessory, why are we even talking about the accessory structure versus real house? Like,
good point.
Yeah.
Why do
is
they
it even brought
refer?
up?
Mhm.
There's
I think
the
Mr.
point,
Maslin-
if
He called it an
Fine.
you called it an accessory structure.
Yes.
But what I'm hearing is that in this zone, it's not defined as an accessory structure.
That doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a
Doesn't make a
difference.
difference, but if you put it too close to the house or you attach it to the house,
Mhm.
it becomes the house.
And
And now you have the house closer to the rear yard,
But why
your
do we-
rear lot line,
but why do we care?
because you're trying to do the minimum adjustment.
But
And the
It's
minimum
the-
adjustment is just have this.
but it doesn't matter.
garage.
But it's just part of the house or part of the garage is in the setback. It doesn't matter.
Correct.
If you moved it closer to the house, you'd be more conforming.
Oh, well, then the house is in the setback.
But
I mean,
it-
that's the point. That,
But,
you
but that's
know,
irrelevant. What's the problem with
I don't
having the
think
house in
it's
the
irrelevant,
setback?
because when you attach an accessory structure to a house, then you treat the,
But you're still,
combined
but you're here
structure.
for a lesser variance then.
the number stays the same. That's correct.
No, actually, it's a lesser variance. It's further from the setback.
Well, 40 feet stays the same, but now you have the house there. It,
Is the house 40 feet?
hold on, look at.
Yeah.
I think what you're
Let me just
afraid
pull
of
it just
then
about.
is that if you do any modifications to the house, you're back here, because the house is non-conforming.
Sounds like you're here
My house is in the
regardless.
setback, because it was built obviously before any of this existed. It is.
Even if the
all-
garage is attached, and I'm not deliberating here, I'm just,
No,
we're
right.
explaining.
It's still,
It's still in the setback.
Right, that's-
But it's further away.
right, that's
From the
Gary's
property
point.
line.
It's an improvement.
There's a conflict with the stairs, if you move it any closer. There's a conflict with this set of stairs.
We're arguing,
The
yeah.
40-foot setback line is here,
Right.
right along here.
So the house is fine.
You could move that entire
Well,
garage
undecided
and attach it to the
applies.
house.
Over here it doesn't. So here's your
Because you have your
setback.
other, right. So your house is already non-conforming.
Right,
So,
it's non-conforming over here, but
Right,
it's
but-
not non-conforming
but-
over here.
but you have non-conforming structure, so I'm not buying that the fact that you attach it is some negative. You may not be able to do it because of the stairs or other reasons, but not for the reason you posited in the
But
front.
the stairs are a conflict.
But that's
She-
different than what you said. You
Well,
thought that there was
there's a number
some,
of reasons, you know, it's not just one by itself. You got the stair conflict, yes.
I'm sorry, he clearly wants to say something, but I have to have him come up for the record.
He can, no, I mean, I can speak.
I don't care who
We did-
speaks.
That's fine. We did go through various options, and one, which, you know, I think a lot of people would want it to become part of their, explored that option, you would not be able to get into the house because there wouldn't be like a vertical way up into where these stairs are. This is the entrance to our house. So since this is obviously lower than the deck, if it came to here, you would then have to be building something from within to get up to the deck. Does that make sense? Like you wouldn't be going the full floor up, but you'd have to build something within to be able to get up inside
So what we're
the
saying
house.
is, it's the topography makes that,
Yeah.
again, had nothing to do with being 5 feet or less or attaching to the house.
It all comes together. Yes, topographies, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Stair conflict, 5
Okay.
feet. I mean, these are all considerations that I
Okay.
think of because I've been dealing with this stuff for long enough to know that that's 5 feet.
We have to settle on the
Could be a
fact that this is ultimately the best location for this accessory
Yeah.
dwelling.
And also the ledge comes into play too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
When you move
Yeah.
it closer, you can't.
Yep. It does. Okay. I think Gary asked a question about the loft.
I think
This
it was
loft.
answered.
It was asked and answered.
The
Oh,
loft
'cause
is, the loft is storage, it's not gonna be
Right.
heated, it's
Right.
not gonna, there'll be electric, but there'll be no plumbing,
Right.
no kitchen facility.
And it's partial.
I'm not trying to invite people to stay.
Exactly, okay.
Okay.
I mean, I just have to add, sometimes what causes me to think that way is because of the type of staircase you're putting in, as opposed to a drop-down staircase, which is not as conducive to entry to a living space.
No.
I can speak to that, which is personal.
Yeah.
I did request, because obviously I said we have talked ad nauseum over the various options. I have a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and I will have 3 kids under the age of 4. So when we were talking about the options of how to make that accessible, it didn't seem safe to me to have a drop-down option where the idea, when you're talking about relatively large storage, would be for me to be going up and down
Right,
a pull down, or God forbid my kids decide, which, you know how they think, that is an attractive option to do.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I hate the pull-downs that are in my house. Just the
They're too
type of
wobbly.
staircase does, just tip me off saying maybe
No.
that's gonna be converted into some other type of living space. So thank you.
Thank you.
You know, on the, there's not enough headroom for long enough,
But that's another, right,
yeah, I mean, you bang your head walking around. So. Okay,
I understand.
okay, all right. Well, we beat this up, alternative plans that we considered.
Yeah, you can sort of move along here,
No,
Bob,
I'm
because
going
we're,
to. Neighbor support,
please do, yep,
The
no, I got all that.
emails
I
are from
see,
the
I
3
see Mrs. Van
people.
Munching's letter, I think
Yep.
it was Van Munching.
That's my name.
Oh,
That's
that,
my
you're,
name.
that was
She's
permission
a-
for Bob, I know, I got it. Okay, so what I'd like to
Nancy
do.
Winship you're talking about.
Yes.
The only letter I saw is from Van Munching, but look, before you move on, frankly, I've heard enough for now. I'd like to see what other board members have to.
Okay.
All my questions are answered.
There you go. Now I don't need to go to Mr. Green.
Nope.
I'm missing.
You're
I have
okay.
issues.
Okay, see, I'm doing you a favor. Matt, got any questions?
I'm all set.
I hate to be annoying, but I never really got an answer. Just, this was
That's
quick.
my vice chair
Annoy
for
your
me.
ways.
You can come on up, sir.
Please. Okay, do you know where I'm going with this? The garage, okay.
Survey?
You know where I'm going with this? I'm looking.
What was
No, I
your,
forget.
maybe
The
repeat
map.
your
I think you're.
Repeat the
you're more-
question.
I think the positioning of the garage, is that why it can't get any closer? Is that it?
Oh, no, that part I'm clear
Oh,
on.
well, then
You're gonna
that's what I
stay
thought you
5 feet
wanted.
from the house, but what did we do? We moved it in 3 feet, but we grew the size of the garage by,
Oh, she's going to minimum adjustment necessary, sir. And,
Yeah.
and I'm not too sure that any of us sitting at this table have a 20
Well, the depth
by
of the
25
garage has to be
garage.
that depth because of the staircase going to the loft.
Okay.
As far as the width of the garage, as far as for 2 SUVs now, if we were to build a garage, I mean, back in the day, yes, my garage is not even that big probably. You know what I mean? But back in the day, that's what they did. But now, if I had to build a garage, not only this one, but any garage, it would probably be 25 feet wide in order to accommodate a SUV and be comfortable while you open the doors between each car.
So I see, when I research standard garage sizes, I see all kinds of numbers, 22 by
Well,
20,
24,
24 by...
25.
Okay.
Yeah, could we shrink it to 24? Probably.
Okay.
But I wouldn't go any less than that. The depth has to be that because you wouldn't be able to get her car in. She drives a Suburban, so she wouldn't get, or whatever, she wouldn't be able to get that in, and plus to have the stairs in the front. It's just not gonna work.
Okay,
So,
well.
I mean, I hope I answered that.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
And
it's
as-
just
as
not a
far as-
hardship, it's more of a, like, we're gonna build a garage that,
You know.
you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, if we have to shrink it a foot here or there, I understand, but
Okay.
the depth is just, I don't know how else you're gonna get.
It's
that
more the
stair.
width. The depth is
It's
okay.
it's a big structure. So before the board starts to discuss about minimum adjustment necessary, you know, this world has become, you know, a world of convenience. And you know, I grew up like Gary. You know, I had to pull down stairs. I had the stairs that went like this to get into my kitchen, well, my parents' kitchen. I mean, really, I had to squeeze out of the side of the car. But I get it. So we want to work with you. We just need to make sure that we're doing the right thing with regard to the regulations and the minimum adjustment necessary and the hardships that are required to give you a variance. That's it.
Appreciate that.
Now, with all of that said, how does the board feel about the minimum adjustment necessary?
I think that's during deliberation.
Answers my question.
What was, I'm sorry?
I think that's to be discussed during deliberation, Bob.
Yeah.
There are questions about it.
Correct.
I'd like
I
to
think
be
those
able
have been
to
addressed.
hear them.
Yeah, so I think, to Gary's point, that the board is satisfied with what we've heard so far.
Okay.
Does the board need to know anything further from Mr. Maslin or the applicant?
No.
No. Sir, I'm ready to close this hearing unless you have something compelling for us to hear.
I put the slide in on hardships, but I think we beat that to death.
I think we beat the
Changes
whole
in the
thing to death,
regulations,
sir. It's, we're good.
FEMA, rising flood elevations, ledge.
Yep, nope, I don't think we have any questions.
Non-conforming
with regard to that.
situation.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
I apologize for taking more than 10 minutes.
Well, it's okay. We beat this thing up pretty good. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to be heard on this application? With that, the hearing's closed.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. So these are closed. We'll move right to deliberation unless I'm forgetting something, which could be totally possible.
Nope, we're ready.
I don't even remember the last time we met. Okay,
know.
so let's.
The Lake Drive?
Well, they're still here. I don't know if Yonkers is out, Mr. Yonkers is outside, but since.
Yeah, they're still there.
Oh, they're
Okay.
well, then let's start from the beginning. So this is the Lake Drive house. This is the elevation. This is the thing. So can I get comments from the board on what their thoughts are on this application?
I think the hardship in my mind is that they're trying to become FEMA compliant. I love that. Our town is all about that. I love that they made the concession to come in on the right side of the house where they're going up to the second story. I thought that was a great compromise, so I am great with what they're asking for.
Okay. Jana?
I'll echo what Barb said. I think it is in terms of like, you know, minimum adjustment. I don't think there's any issue in terms of what they're proposing relative to what they're, you know, what they're dealing with trying to become flood compliant.
Okay. Understood. Gary?
I agree.
You okay? Matt?
I agree.
You okay? Can I get I'm okay as well. So I don't have any questions for myself.
Woody, do you staff? Yep.
Woody, yes,
Do you want
thank
to
you.
stip anything about the porch?
Yeah. we'll let-
Oh, yes, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, let's do the normal stiff. Mr. Yonkers suggested that that would be okay. Normal stiff, no bigger, not enclosed. You know, I believe you quote it in your staff questions anyhow, so that's fine. Okay? Is there anything else that we should discuss with regard to stipulations or anything else before I vote?
I
No?
move to approve the application.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
That's great. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. 5-0.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay, that one's fine. Okay, so we're gonna go to Mr. Maslin and 3 Edge Hill.
I think there's hardship all over that property. The ledge, the topography, the location of a house that's been there for quite a long time. The way you get into that house, I think the house itself and the property provides substantial hardship, justifying a variance, so long as the variance is the minimal adjustment necessary.
Okay,
On that front, when the applicant says you could shave off a foot, you take the foot. But other than that, I think it's fine. I think the staircase that makes the garage a little bit deeper doesn't bother me, because I think that's the way they should be designed. We would stip, and I'm pretty confident that the applicant doesn't want to finish the loft area above the garage, the parking spaces. I would take the foot that we were given, and I think it's fine.
I think he actually didn't he give 4 feet? Or no, that
he
dimension
gave a foot.
came off the 25.
Yeah, he gave the 24 feet.
If you want to take the foot,
Otherwise, only because when applicants give them, that means that that's the minimum.
well, of course, when you need to borrow $200, you ask for
Right.
400. Janet?
I think it's helpful that there is the neighbor's support for the garage addition, that they're aware of what's being built and there's not any opposition to it.
That's a really good point, to tell you the truth. I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, if anybody really objected to something being oversized,
That side neighbor.
yeah, they'd be here and, or at least send me a note, or Woody a note. Okay, I agreed. Good point, great point.
Yeah, no issues for me. I'm looking at the design of the garage. Aesthetically, like it looks kind of good as is. I mean, if you want to take off a foot, the roof gets a little more pitched. But it doesn't look like it's like a gigantic garage. And the way it is, it's pretty reasonable.
And I would suggest that all we want is that it doesn't, it's not over looming, which, apparently everybody's okay with, so. Comments, questions, concerns?
I agree with Gary's comment, there's hardships all over the lot. I don't think it's the minimum adjustment. I don't have a problem with it, but I think this garage could have been scaled way back. Now, you could argue that the safety issue of the stairs validates the depth. I like that, because then it makes you, the stairs are code. But the width could be less. It could be significantly less, not just a foot. I think what we're getting into is, what is a minimum garage by today's standards? I mean, with big cars and extra room, I mean, you could probably justify a 26-foot wide garage. So I don't know. I don't really have a problem. If they're going to shave a foot, they're going to have to redesign the whole thing. I kind of agree with Matt. Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, and just looking at, I mean, I kind of thought the same thing, but then when I looked at what it actually is going to look like,
Yeah.
I don't know where you take off.
I don't
any
know that that's
space
what
there.
we're doing.
Like, this is a pretty normal 2-car garage at this point.
Yeah.
And I think the depth in this case, talk about precedent, I don't think the depth in this case is that big a deal. It's not really close to the road, it's not close to the rear, so if someone else in another application
Yeah.
proposed a 28-foot deep garage, but required a front yard setback where you're really, we may not approve it
This would be a different
then.
conversation. I agree.
But on this piece of property, I don't think the depth bothers me.
Does the
Okay.
width bother you?
Well, they gave a foot.
I don't know that that's worth taking.
Well, I kind of
But
agree with
they
that.
almost, by definition, if they give you a foot, then what they applied for isn't the minimum.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't a minimum. How are we defining a minimum adjustment here?
Well, I tell you what. All points made are good. So I would suggest, in an effort to keep the definition and the spirit of the minimum adjustment necessary, that we take the foot. And they have to make some design changes. It's all computerized. It's all on CAD. Click, 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 click.
Woody, do you not have standard, like their
I
front
mean,
porch
this-
is standard 5x8? What's a standard garage addition for an accessory dwelling unit? We don't have one.
No.
So this is an
We have a
arbitrary
minimum
discussion.
size for parking spaces, like 9 feet by 18.
Yeah,
When
that's
you're
a
making
parking
bunch of them,
space.
That's
like
when
on a
you're
commercial
striping.
property or
That's when you're
something.
striping
Yeah,
property.
yeah, no, understood.
And
Now you
digging
have
the-
to open
digging
the
the
door.
car
You gotta
next
get
to
out of the
you.
car.
Yeah.
We don't
So-
have a standard.
If you look at the pictures of the old structure, which was 18 by
Tiny.
19, it's tiny.
Tiny.
Yes.
It is so small.
Yes.
You cannot fit a car in
Unusable.
there. So when we're adding an extra 6 feet, like that's, I don't know, that seems.
They're coming
okay.
in 3 and they're adding 3.
The only thing I mean, the real thing I want to stipulate is that they're not doing anything with the attic space.
Yeah, all right.
I really
So,
stipulate
so
that.
we're gonna look,
I'm good.
okay, before I
I think
say
that's really
anything,
important.
I understand, and we will
Not the attic
stipulate
space.
this.
No,
The
the
loft
house,
space.
The loft space.
I don't know why we were talking about the house
I
to
don't
begin with,
either,
Jeff.
Well, we
Because you
were
just confused
because,
me.
well, I was confused.
He wasn't touching it. But anyway,
His item K did.
it was just the history. He just said, he likes to be thorough.
He's sitting right there.
Oh.
You know that.
I can't say
Okay,
anything.
look,
You bill by the hour, you like to be thorough.
okay, you were very too thorough, sir. You threw off the chairman. Okay, Jana, do you care about the foot? Are you okay with this?
I honestly don't, the extra foot does not trouble me.
Okay, we're
I
gonna
know that's
stip.
not- I know that's not.
Can we stop there with the stip?
If someone makes a motion, as long as the stipulations, as long as there's stipulations about not,
Finishing it.
that the attic is, sorry,
The
the
loft.
loft space is
Remains
purely
unfinished.
storage, not heated, not plumbed. No plumbing.
I understand.
Okay, I'll make a motion for that. And for the plans as is.
Okay, but hang on.
Oh,
Matt, you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of the definition of, so no plumbing, heating,
And no, kitchen facility.
Yeah,
Right,
we, we have normal stipulations for this, as you well know, so, and I know Mr. Maslin is familiar with those stipulations, so they're gonna be in there. And Woody, you know how they're defined as well, so, no cooking, no nothing.
because it is
We'll give them a
accessory- it is
light.
an accessory
No
structure.
living
Right.
space.
No living space, but we'll give them a light. Okay. I believe we've satisfied everybody on the board.
so I'll make a motion to approve the plans as they are with the stipulation that the loft space remains unfinished. I do not feel the need to reduce by 1 foot, so
Okay.
as is.
I'll second it.
Fine. That's the motion to approve with the stipulation. I have a second. All in favor? Done, 5-0. Have a nice and neat evening.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're sorry to beat that to death.
No, I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry I kept jumping up there, but we
There-
really, really
did
did
great.
give it a lot of thought.
No, I know. There was just a lot of comment swirling around
No,
about
and
it,
I'm
so
a big rule follower, so I
I wanted-
wanted to make sure,
No,
but I really appreciate it.
I appreciate
Great.
that. I just wanted to be
Thank
thorough.
you.
You have a
Thank
nice night.
Yeah, thank you, you as well.
Thank you. I was like panting. It's not great.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Jeez. Okay. We're gonna go on to,
Other business.
we're gonna skip number 1 for now. Report as if you considering request release. Do you, Jana?
We had an executive meeting today, it's not resolved yet.
Okay.
The parties are still talking about, and hopefully we'll reach a amicable resolution.
Fair enough, thank you. Approval of minutes, a meeting for the October 18th.
Did you circulate those? Woody?
I approved a whole
Long
list.
time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah, and then I approved them because I didn't, or I agreed with them, whatever, approved them, whatever. And then I believe it was Matt who came back, like, right after and said, I approve them too.
Right, and they were attached to this
Yeah.
email as well.
So that's been done. Oh, do we have to do it? Yeah, okay.
Motion.
All in favor of approving
Somebody
the,
make a motion for it, maybe Barb, Matt, John, Jana, and Gary.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 18th.
thank you, I was just saying all that, what the?
Oh, sorry, okay.
But that's okay.
Do we have a second?
Listen, I need your and Gary's help. Approval of minutes of November the 15th, those were also included in that same email, also approved electronically, but I'll make a motion to approve the November 15th.
I'll second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Yeah.
If we were-
Doing the
Gloss
best
over
I can
that.
here. Propose correcting violations, we're gonna skip that. we're gonna skip number 6.
Can I bother you and go back to October 18? Barb made the motion to approve that.
Yeah,
Can somebody second him?
I'll second it.
yeah,
Matt,
I
thank you.
thought Matt.
All in favor?
I thought Matt did. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah,
Yep.
good, good.
Clear
Application, no, we're gonna skip that, and then any other business, we're gonna skip that. Okay, I think we're done for now. Well-
Consideration of annual dinner?
No, well, look,
What are we gonna do about that?
you know.
No one's ever available.
We gave it a good try. You know, people are very busy, especially around that time of the year. And now, of course, it's vacations and spring is
We
coming.
can circulate another date.
You
It's a
wanna
fun-
do it?
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. We can circulate another date. So
Fine.
Let's try by email.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
I'll handle
Between
it.
the two
I
of
will handle
you.
it. I have to talk to Woody about another issue anyway, so we will
Okay,
deal with
that's
it.
good. All right, so we will circulate, you're my subcommittee.
Yes.
Yeah, circulate some type of a date. I agree, it's fun. I totally agree. I was good on either night, so I'm good. And then application materials, we can skip that, okay? I think we're doing just fine as it is as I continue to get into this whole digital thing. So with,
Were you able to get into it eventually?
no.
I'll be honest, I was struggling with the digital thing. I was better when we had, maybe I don't need all of the plans and
Yeah.
like, 16 inches of documents, but I really do, I would appreciate just the
basics.
The basics.
Yeah, this thing didn't work for
Not,
me
not like,
either.
you mean like it's hard to find this stuff, or like,
I just,
you just
I'm
like
one of
paper?
those people that I just like paper, I can't juggle between.
Can I call a
screen and,
timeout?
like-
I'd like to adjourn so TV's off and we can
Yes.
just have a sidebar conversation.
Yes, sorry.
So, and my friend can go home.
Yes.
So may I please have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn
Do I
this
have a
meeting.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Channel 79, we're done. Thank you so much.